This episode is brought to you by San Pellegrino Ciao. A gift from Italy to your home. San Pellegrino Ciao is a flavored sparkling water made with real fruit juice, finished with a pinch of Sicilian salt for a perfectly balanced taste. So which flavor will you choose? Peach, lime, blood orange, cherry, or maybe the all-new limoncello? Crafted in Italy with 0 grams of added sugar. San Pellegrino Ciao. Buy it now.
So that's very, very strong. It's a very strong deal. Nobody knows what it is, but it's very strong. And most people seem to be very happy.
Welcome to Quiet Riot, the Cooler Heads podcast that reminds you to take a beat and turn down the heat. I'm Naomi Smith.
And I'm Andreou, here to prove that it's possible to have passion without the shouting.
All while giving you plenty of ideas for things you can do to strengthen our democracy.
So stop doom scrolling, start relaxing, and help us begin another Quiet Riot. Hello and welcome to Quiet Riot. I'm Alex.
And I'm Naomi.
And I'm Kenny.
This week, the government announced plans to follow Australia and ban under-16s from social media. Is it the right thing to do? Or, as one campaigner claims, more about today's Makerfield by-election?
And on Friday's B-side, we'll be bringing you our first bleary-eyed, middle-of-the-night thoughts on that Makerfield result. So please be aware, that episode will drop a little later Friday morning than usual.
Helping us with all that and more, it's our immense pleasure to welcome back to the show Emma Harrison, CEO of the leading campaign for proportional representation, Make Votes Matter.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Look, what listeners don't know is that we've just been talking vintage motorcycle.
We certainly have.
But that's for another conversation because somebody's told me that you're a footy fan.
I am, yes, that's right.
There's football of some sort going on, somebody said. Didn't you go on an international footy trip of late?
I did. I had a lovely, lovely trip to Budapest where the result didn't quite favour my team, but I had a fantastic time, drank some nice beer, ate a langos. That's probably not how the Hungarians pronounce it, sorry, but it was a lovely flatbread.
Oh.
And it was just brilliant being there, and the Hungarians really put on a great show. So I enjoyed it nonetheless.
Was there a sense of relief in the city because of the result in the election recently? Because every Hungarian friend says it's like everyone's just heaved a sigh of relief.
Do you know what I love the most is how many people, how many queer people I saw walking down the street hand in hand. The gay gooners, because I'm an Arsenal fan, were there out in numbers and really enjoying themselves. And I thought this is what this country deserves, like the respite from the hideous politics of Orban.
So come on then, seeing as we are recording just before the match between England and Croatia, but everyone listening will know the result by the time they listen. Put your money where your mouth is and give us your predictions. You know me.
As a non-footy fan and follower of any real merit, 1-0 to England.
Okay. Kenny?
This isn't fair. I mean, listen to my accent.
Oh, stop sounding so Scottish.
Honestly, look,
I didn't have to listen to your accent. The first sentence out of your mouth was, "This isn't fair."
I actually said this isn't fair. You're just mishearing me. I reckon 3-1 to England. I reckon Kane will score and then he'll have to be taken off because he's ancient. And he's going to he's going to have to sit the rest of the World Cup out on the substitutes bench. There you go.
Okay, that's oddly specific.
Very.
Emma?
Well, this is the World Cup for older players. Remember, lots of people,
true.
so that's great. I'm going to do what Naomi does, 1-0, but for a different reason, because our favourite chat Arsenal is 1-0 to the Arsenal. And I think that Declan Rice is going to score.
Okay.
Go on then, Alex.
I think it might be a draw, 1-1. Croatia are quite strong and
Who
England...
scores first?
Oh, it would have to be Croatia because actually, we are doomed to live in completely stressed out state, and then you'll probably come back sort of 70-ish minutes. But England are notoriously slow starters in these tournaments.
Did you watch any of the highlights of the Scottish game? I mean, stress.
That's true.
It wasn't I've ordered, these are new fingers that I got from Temu. These are brand new.
You bit them down.
I was down to the knuckles.
Listen, buddy. Unlike Emma here, I support Spurs.
Oh,
so you wanna talk stress? I can match
Stress versus
I
stupidity.
can match you white knuckle for white knuckle. So let's not go there. If one were to apply the block filter maker field to the content they consume, this might actually look like a decent week for the government. The Prime Minister is at the G7 meeting in France, discussing the imminent reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. The economy continued to show remarkable resilience, and inflation defied expectations for the third month in a row and kept steady. Thames Water is a step closer to being renationalised. The people who targeted the PM with a Russian planned arson attack are in jail. Racist violence seems to have died back while anti-racist demonstrations went on. And plans were announced to protect young people from the toxicity of social media that go further than most campaigners expected. And yet all the talk is of the by-election happening today, labelled by many as the most consequential by-election in decades, and how it could, might, will, delete as needed, signal the end for Starmer's prime ministership. Only someone appears to have neglected to copy the PM into the memo.
Are there any circumstances in which you would step aside?
Well, I don't think there should be a leadership election. I think that the last government proved that parties that spend their whole time in leadership elections don't go on to win the next general election. Andy Burnham is in this by-election. I want him to win.
Would you bring Burnham back into your cabinet?
Oh, Andy's a great asset. And yes, I want him to have a big role in government. I'm sure I'll talk to Andy after the weekend. Of course I will. I've spoken to him many times in recent weeks. When I came into politics in 2015, it was Andy Burnham's team that I joined, and we worked very well together. He's a huge asset. He's been a fantastic mayor in Manchester. And if he comes back into Parliament, I hope he wins in the by-election, he'll be a fantastic asset for our party and for the country.
And just to be clear, you think that he needs to secure a Labour mayor in Greater Manchester before anything else? You think that that's incumbent on him because he's triggered this by-election?
Well, I would say to the whole of the Labour Party and the whole of the Labour movement, we're straight into a Manchester mayoralty. It is really important that we win that, because this is one of the huge mayoralties in the North West.
Do you feel angry at the predicament you're in?
No, I don't feel angry.
Do you blame yourself?
I don't feel bitter, because I remind myself it is an incredible privilege to be the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, to be here talking to world leaders about some of the biggest issues of the day, to be able to serve your country.
Prime Minister, you're going to fight on, that's very clear. Do you intend to lead your party into the next general election?
That's what I want to do, and I've been very clear about that.
Okay.
Do I recognise that that means we've got to turn things around? Yes, I do.
Can we start from that social media ban for under-16s, actually? Accepting that this is a difficult area with no perfect solutions, do you think this is a positive or negative development on the whole? Who wants to go?
I am acutely aware that none of us in this podcast studio is a parent. I have a dog. He is not that into screen time. I'm lucky. So, I want to say that up front. I have spoken to all of my friends with children who I could get hold of at short notice to ask them what they think. And broadly, they are echoing the polling. There is extremely high support for this move. However, few parents who get it and are educated about all of this think that it is the be-all and end-all. They are concerned about what's happened in Australia, where about 60% of under-16s are getting around it anyway. They know their own children and how canny they are. In fact, they have to ask their children most of the time to help them with IT and tech. You can spread the cost of an annual VPN through, like NordVPN or something like that. Please sponsor the show if you want to, over about 4 or 5 accounts. So between 4 or 5 of your mates, it's not a huge amount of pocket money to do that and get around it. There are also those that worry about access to LGBTQ information, other things that they may not feel comfortable asking their parents about. So there is a bit of a concern about a ban having more negative externalities than the straight up ban. I think broadly, though, it's relief, but no substitute for talking to your children about online harm, making sure schools are continuing to do education around it. Because if there's one thing we know about canny kids, they will get around a ban. And we need to protect them and not be lazy in assuming that just because it is now illegal that they won't do it. See drugs, see alcohol, see vaping, see smoking. In fact, the draw and the allure can become heightened by a ban.
A couple of years ago, I was visiting my cousin and we decided to play some Xbox. His lad was there who was 14 or 15 at the time. And his lad said, look, we'll set you up with an Xbox account. It'll take me 2 minutes. Don't worry about it. And that way, if you do good in the game, we'll save it. Come back. And he set it up. And within less than 2 minutes, ding, 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 3 little messages had come through. And I went, oh, what's that? He says, don't worry about them. That'll just be pedos.
Yeah.
Within literally
But
2
he
minutes.
knew that. Thank God he knew that.
It was
But vulnerable children don't. And
That's
the
right.
vulnerable children who aren't at the kinds of schools where they get that education, who aren't in the home environment where they're
absolutely.
getting it, that Chaz, 15, down the road, is actually Charlie, 58, somewhere trying to groom them.
That's right. The kids who are digital smart, and that's the majority of kids, I'd suggest, because they've been raised with it. I do wonder what the impact is on them. I mean, we've raised more than one generation now who have really come to rely on social media, partly, I think, because of the lockdown period. You know, social media for them is something that is absolutely integral to their existence and to their social interaction with the outside world as well. And having done this and raised these, encouraged these 2 generations to be online and to drink all this up, we're now saying, oh, by the way, we're taking that away from you and we're giving you nothing back.
Look, I obviously always like to be as evidence-led and data-led as we can be, and I'll ask you in a minute about the data from Australia, Kenny, because I think you've been looking into that. But the harm is being done, not generally by children. Children can be vile to each other on social media, but bullying happens in school. What has changed with the advent of the smartphone is that then continues when you get home, which would ordinarily have been your safe place. But the harm is being generally created by adults on platforms owned by adults that are meant to be regulated by adults. And so this cannot be the end. It has to be the beginning of the clampdown on the excessive power that these tech billionaires have over all of us. There has been quite a lot of criticism that Starmer used X to announce the ban, that we are somehow too frightened, too weak as nations, not just the UK, given Starlink, and how vital Starlink is as a company owned by Elon Musk to the effort being supported in Ukraine against Putin.
Yeah.
So there's this kind of fear. And I think to just ban children and not tackle much more robustly how we regulate these publishers. I mean, any social media platform that will not just show you in chronological order posts by people you follow is curating what you see, and they are a publisher. And I don't think there should be a legal way out of condemning them for that.
I don't think we can ignore as well at the G7, they're having this tech bros lunch. They're all going to sit around and all the men, because it is all men who run these tech companies, are going to talk about how they can share their power with AI and stuff. And I just don't think they're going to be tough enough. I know that Macron's welcomed the ban and said, welcome to the club. And obviously there's been good feedback from Australia. But Emily Darlington at Science Tech Committee was really strong on this. And she said until those companies look at their algorithm and reduce the addictive nature of social media, it's kind of irrelevant because of all the things that you've said about kids, like being able to circumvent it, just be smarter. So, it's great, but it's not enough and it needs to go much further.
Quiet Riot. Starting or growing your own business can be intimidating and lonely at times. Your to-do list may feel endless with new tasks, and lists can easily begin to overrun your life. So finding the right tool that not only helps you out, but simplifies everything as a built-in business partner can be a game changer. For millions of businesses, that tool is Shopify. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the US. From household names like Gymshark, Rare Beauty, and Heinz, to brands just getting started. Shopify has hundreds of ready-to-use templates that can help you build a beautiful online store that matches your brand's style. And you can tackle all the important tasks in one place, from inventory to payments to analytics and more. No need to save multiple websites or try to figure out what platform is hosting the tool that you need. And if people haven't heard about your brand, you can get the word out like you have a marketing team behind you, with easy-to-run email and social media campaigns to reach customers wherever they're scrolling or strolling. Start your business today with the industry's best business partner, Shopify, and start hearing. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/realm. Go to shopify.com/realm. That's shopify.com/realm.
Quiet Riot.
A few things. I mean, I broadly agree, especially with the fact that there needs to be further regulation. As you know, I'm a tech company regulation hawk, if anything. So the first thing to say is, I think it's interesting, the fact that none of us have children, I think that might actually make it better, you know, because I think people who have children think their 15-year-old is representative of every 15-year-old, and it's often not the case. So people with access to a tiny sample of something can often be quite wrong-headed about how they believe that demographic behaves in total. We've got a little bit of distance, actually, and I think that gives a decent perspective.
On that, I've noticed that there is a real difference between parents being concerned about who might be messaging their children and being far less concerned about the content that they're being served about other things. So
not the campaigning families. The campaigning families are very, very clear that it's about the content. I think everyone understands this is a first step. No one says
I agree with you. I just meant that you're right. I'm reinforcing your point that I think parents can misconstrue.
I think you're right. But certainly the campaigning parents, bereaved families basically, who have lost someone to this stuff, do know it's all about the content. I've read several studies about how different a developing brain is at absorbing this stuff. And so while I completely get what you're saying about the bullying continuing at home, and it will probably still continue because they'll be able to WhatsApp you their bullying, you know, that won't stop. But there is a significant difference to you as a teenager in a dark moment looking something up about self-harm, and then that platform just inundating you with self-harm videos for the next however many months, which is a kind of grooming, isn't it? It's a sort of normalizing of something that shouldn't be normalized. And so I do think it's a decent first step. I do find it peculiar just how much prominence the comments of one of the parents have had, and that's the parent of Molly Russell, who, you know, lost her life in horrendous circumstances. But he does run a charity that did get a very big donation from tech companies. And he's the only one of that group of parents to say, no, a ban is a terrible thing. I saw a big panel of them, like 7 of them, on a Sky News program, and they were all thrilled because they weren't expecting to go this far. They thought it would be watered down, that it wouldn't be a ban, and they all think that's a reasonable first step. So on the evidence, Kenny, you have been looking at Australia. How is it working over there so far? Are they seeing a difference in kids' lives?
Depends who you ask in some ways. I mean, the data is fascinating that's coming out of Australia. The headline win was big in the early days when this was all rolled out in December. At that point, platforms had removed access to something like 4.7 million under 16 accounts. And roughly 550,000 of those were Meta accounts alone. But that 4.7 million figure, we should remember, is really massively inflated by duplicates and by inactive accounts, because children, in a shock to like absolutely no one has ever met one, have got more than one social media account. But it shows, you know, platforms can act when the state forces them to. And that's, you know, that's a revelation to no one except anyone who thinks Meta's powered by some sort of fairy dust. However, the uncomfortable bit, we've alluded to this, is that the ban is porous. It's very, very porous indeed. By April, reports which cited the e-Safety Commission in Australia were saying that more than 2/3 of teenagers were still on the platforms that are covered by the Australian legislation. Children could do things like bypass the facial recognition software, particularly if they were getting close to the age of 16. And some platforms were already being assessed for non-compliance.
A spike in Groucho Marx moustaches.
And the other interesting thing was that, of course, a lot of the data has come not from the kids, because you can't ask kids questions. You can ask their parents questions. So before the ban, 49% of parents said that kids had social media accounts, which suggests to me that not all the parents were actually aware of what their kids were doing. But there's the baseline figure, 49%.
Well, no, it absolutely confirms it, because we know it was more than that.
Correct. But then after the ban, that baseline figure of 49% dropped to 31%, which means once you do the back of the envelope calculation, just about 70% of children who'd previously had accounts still had social media accounts. There is also some evidence of parents reporting what you might call positive behavioural changes. Researchers from the Murdoch Children's Research Institute have done some work in that, but they've warned that sort of research has its limits as well.
Very early.
It's early, it's self-reported, of course, it's not universal, and some parents were reporting negative side effects as well. So I think Australia, the data so far proves three things. One, platforms can remove millions of children's accounts if they're forced to. Two, children can and will root around the system, and they'll root around the system in substantial numbers. And three, nobody really knows whether the ban is improving mental health, whether it's improving safety, whether it's improving family life in the long term. It's a live experiment. It's not a settled success.
And if you're in Australia, depending on where you are, granted, but in general, outside is, I mean, full of things that want to kill you, spiders and snakes and things like that. But outside is nice. And I heard some children on the news who were being interviewed about it saying, our mums and dads don't want us to go outside. So this whole framing, go outside, enjoy your childhood. Well, the parents aren't going to suddenly let inner city children in quite rough areas suddenly down Snapchat and head out to a basketball court, which may not exist anymore. We've closed a lot of youth centres, Sure Start programmes, hockey pitches have been sold off to become car parks, etc. So we're going to have to offer that generation far more than we are.
Yeah.
So I think that, town's one thing, but if you grew up like I did in a tiny village where there wasn't many people like children my age, it was quite lonely. And I have friends who grew up gay in tiny villages in Wales who felt completely isolated. So that's the other thing that slightly worries me about it, is if your only form of contact with people who are like you is through your phone because you are isolated in a rural community, what happens to you?
All of that is fair, but I guess the question is, are we just trying to see what happens to this very difficult transitional group of kids, or what happens further down the line? Because, like, if you lowered or made it higher, the age for buying cigarettes or alcohol at the moment, you would expect that a lot of people would try to get around it because they're already used to buying alcohol or buying cigarettes. Just like kids suddenly losing access to social media are used to having it. But maybe they're 12-year-olds at the moment. Maybe more of them won't get on it until they're older. And I guess that's where you will start to see the real benefit.
A lot of kids use Snapchat to organise their social life. It's like, snap me, send me your snap. It's how they keep tabs on where each other are. When I was young, I was an incredibly gregarious child. I loved socializing. My brothers were so much older than me. I didn't have anyone to play with at home. So to Emma's loneliness point, and similarly moving to Northern Ireland, being in a very small community, the kids that I met who I immediately knew were gay, it was extremely difficult for them, but we had landlines. And I remember vividly coming home from school every day and ringing my best friend, and my mum being like, "You've just been at school with her all day. What have you possibly got to talk to her on the phone about?" And, of course I wanted to, but children probably don't have, their parents probably gave up the landline because they've got their own mobile phones now. So I do worry about social isolation for children who don't want their parents to be organising their social life for them, which is going to be the alternative. It's going to be, okay, mum, so-and-so's having a birthday party. Can you ring their mum and find out where it is, when it is, what time we're all meant to get there, etc. So there is that aspect of it as well.
Emma, we were asked this at our editorial meeting this week, actually, and you're the perfect person to answer it. How does shielding teenagers from social media until the age of 16 tally with a campaign to give votes to 16-year-olds?
It's almost like they hadn't thought it through, because we know that the majority of young people get all of their news through social media. Yeah. They might read a BBC article, but they've read it through a video on TikTok, so you don't read on TikTok, but you know what I mean. So I think this is a real challenge. I also think that one of the big problems we've got is that civil education at school just doesn't happen in the way that it needs to. I'm amazed how many young people I meet who really understand politics, but equally the amount I meet who have no idea what the difference between a councillor is, an MP, how a government is formed. And you're right, then they're going to be asked to put a tick or a cross in a ballot box with nothing helping them and guiding them. So I do think there needs to be a lot more done here on education, but I can also feel that, like, it's a bit uncomfortable, isn't it? You can vote at 16, but at 15 and 364 days, you can't go and read about a candidate through or watch their video on Reels.
Yeah, but maybe that's the answer, Actually, maybe it's better to accept that you need to educate kids if they're coming up to voting age in a controlled, accurate environment, rather than let them absorb bullshit and conspiracy theories
like we do with the
via
boomers.
TikTok.
Exactly. And that is the thing. I mean, look at the ad spend that Restore, which, this new party, I know obviously all the listeners know about them, but they're really new. They're barely a party. They have been outspending Reform through their social media ads. So Reform are now throwing more money at it. And what we do know is that a lot of the adverts are slightly misleading at times. Then I'm trying to be polite.
No, get out.
So if this is like, so they're not necessarily getting the best political education through that. Half the conspiracy theorists I know are over 70. Should we not ban them?
I think we should limit everyone's time on social media.
That too.
I would welcome that.
Quiet, Riot. Hey, Fidelity. Can I get a second opinion on stocks in the Fidelity app?
With Fidelity, it's easy to get an outside opinion from independent experts in a single score.
And then?
When you're ready, trade U.S. stocks and ETFs with no commissions.
That's right.
I am always right.
Investing involves risk, including risk of loss. $0 commission does not apply to customers designated by Fidelity as a professional equity trader. A limited number of ETFs are subject to a service fee of $100. See details at fidelity.com/commissions. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE SIPC.
Quiet, Riot.
People talking shite brings me neatly to Trump. A total of 40 times he has claimed a deal with Iran was imminent. This time he claims a deal has been actually done. Let's have a little listen.
So that's very, very strong. It's a very strong deal. Nobody knows what it is, but it's very strong. And most people seem to be very happy.
In the text of the document, why not release the
Oh, I will.
Why not release it?
Well, because I'd like to get a formal setting first before we do that. But I have no problem with that. It's a great document. Here's what it says. Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. That's what it says. And I would say that's about 99.9% of what I wanted. Now, in addition to that, the Strait is going to be open toll-free. But I'll not only release it, I'll probably have a press conference and read it to you word by word so that the press covers it accurately.
Although there does remain apparently some doubt, because it's been docu-signed. No, seriously, it's been electronically
Joe
signed.
Biden signed it.
Seriously, and with all his stuff about the autopen, he's like, hello, as the Daily Show put it, the autopenner has become the autopenny.
Oh, that's interesting, because there's been quite a lot of content about him being visibly much more frail than even in previous months, and unable to shake hands properly at the G7. So I think he's probably had some kind of stroke and can't pick up a pen.
So anyway, the point about the deal is no ships are moving through Hormuz yet. No details of the deal have been released at all. So we literally don't know what's in it. Israel continues to attack Lebanon, and the document is not due to be signed formally until Friday. Dare we hope that this is more than hot air?
Well, first up, while we were coming in, there's reports coming out that 3 Iranian ships have gone through the Strait.
Oh, amazing.
2 of them using their location trackers, 1 not switching it on till it was sort of at the demarcation point. I don't know if that's been confirmed at the point of recording. Assuming that's the case.
I mean, Iran haven't knocked back the report, and this is the first time. So I think that's, tallies with what you're saying.
And that would be another sign that Iran is in itself confident that the blockade is over and is starting to make these little diddy steps.
They've won.
Yes,
they've won.
They won
US has
several
lost.
weeks ago.
But apparently they've got a massive financial settlement. They've got a massive amount of money out of him.
Well, the story that I would love to be able to investigate when this all blows over is where the massive amount of money that they're getting access to is going to be spent. Which American companies are going to be able to go into Iran, and Iran will pay them with American dollars to make profits that have been paid for by American taxpayers to rebuild the bits of Iran that have been flattened.
Yeah. Trump Towers Tehran, maybe?
Well, Lebanon is the other soft spot, of course, and Israel wasn't directly involved in the negotiations. And I think they're saying that they will keep troops in southern Lebanon indefinitely. So fighting halted on all fronts is not a very true statement at the moment, I don't think. the really hard questions seem to have been pushed down the road. So the nuclear program, support for regional proxies, frozen assets, sanctions, they're all left for a 60-day negotiation window.
They have the concept of a plan,
So the concept
as I
of a
seem
plan.
to
So
recall the phrase.
Maybe slightly more cautious hope is the answer to your question, and we've had on the other 39 times he's made the announcement, but until it's all public and we've had a chance to review the text and ships are moving in big number through.
When the insurers start dropping the prices, that's when we know it's over.
Tell you what, though, if you're the Iranian football team, you don't feel like a deal's been done, because I know this isn't about football.
It's
but,
horrific,
they've
though, isn't
been having
it?
to ship back to Tijuana after their games. They've been really put through the mill. And I think it just shows actually quite a lot of contempt for those individuals.
And a lot of officials are having a massive problem as well, even from countries that America considers benign, because they've only been granted entry visas. But because the tournament takes place in 3 host countries, once they leave to officiate a game in Canada, they can't come back into America. So it's apparently absolute mayhem with officials. The economy has proved quite a bit more resilient, I think, than we had feared.
That's the British economy we're on now.
Yeah, the British economy, because there's a pattern of figures coming out that are better than everyone had expected. Is this a delayed effect, do we think? And there's going to be a wave of inflation that will hit us later down the line? Or is there a reason to believe that the UK actually is in a space where it's outperforming expectations?
Expectations is the key word here, isn't it? Because the expectations were pretty much lying in a ditch with a traffic cone on their head. They weren't great. Little boo economic figures again. Rachel Reeves is going to go into a cupboard and sob. So expectations, I think, is part one. And I saw a report earlier today just reminding us that for the last couple of years, first quarter figures have been really good in this country. And then the rest of the year, underperformed. So, keep your fingers crossed.
We like to spend our way through the dark months of January, February. No, I would agree with that. I also think most people are saying that the big inflationary hit from what has already happened in Iran wasn't due to come until the autumn. We had inflation stats out in the UK this week, more or less around the same rate of inflation. It hadn't worsened yet. I think people are still anticipating that. IMF sees 0.8% growth for 2026 for the UK, quite sombre. OECD around 0.9. KPMG, I think, said as low as 0.7.
Yeah.
So,
but all 3 of those figures have been adjusted upwards in the last 3 months. So I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It's anemic, but it's less anemic than everyone thought.
Yeah.
There's a pulse. There's a pulse.
There's a pulse. Quick, get the paddles out. It's alive.
I've got an EU membership defibrillator for you. Riot. Alex, can you fill us in on another story that made the headlines this week? And of course, that was the trial of the people who had been accused of the arson attack on the Prime Minister's property and car about a year ago now. That all happened. And
the reason that's interesting is because it's the first time we've got some details in the sentencing remarks. And boy, is it a twisty, turny tale. People can go and read about it. I don't need to explain all the details. It involves basically these two...
A Romanian and a Ukrainian.
Yeah, being approached by someone that is alleged to be linked to the Kremlin and being offered money to do this, with the hope being that once this is done, not only would it operate to kind of terrorize the political system here, but also it would serve to undermine solidarity for Ukraine because they could portray them as dissatisfied Ukrainians that the UK is not giving even more money or whatever that did this.
But it's Keir Starmer's Rent Boys. Because if you look under the line on any commentary on this over the last week, that is what it is flooded with.
And I want to play you a little bit of Jeremy Kyle hosting Matt Vickers, who is deputy chair of the Conservative Party and ought to know better.
The idea that there's some Russian secret effort to destabilise this country via the... I mean, you'd leave him in office and you'd just stop distracting. You know, you leave him in office, let him destroy the country, and then you stop distracting because he's kind of doing a pretty canny job of blowing himself up. So
wow. So these
Bizarre.
two young, were they rent boys, or was that...
I'm not that familiar with them, to be fair, Jess.
No, well, it's just that there was apparently, I mean, I don't know anything, and I will plead the fifth. There apparently were conspiracies. I don't look on X. I've never heard it, Your Honour. So his front door was firebombed, wasn't it? Why are you laughing? It wasn't his back door, it was his front door. You're right, there is a security issue, but there's also a huge debate, isn't there? Because, I don't know, it sort of follows him around a bit, doesn't it? Bad news.
Yeah, it kind of does get a few of these rumours in the rumour mill.
I mean, you could say on the basis of yesterday, people were saying Starmer's social media ban is a rush job. I mean, he was trying to bring a social media ban through the back door quite quickly, wasn't he?
God, yes.
I just find that, you know, as a gay man, I find that fucking depressing. I'm gonna be honest, because I thought we were past that. I really did think we were past that.
Most people are. But
and I don't understand how it's now okay again for someone like this idiot to be on a big public platform making jokes about
yeah.
Do you know who gets to see this, even in 6 months' time? Under 16s.
Yeah.
Social media ban doesn't stop that sort of shit being broadcast, does it? And I think that in itself.
Well, it stops the clip being disseminated.
Yeah.
Maybe it does that. But I just found the whole thing depressing and dignified. Backdoor jokes.
But it has cut
rent
through.
boy jokes.
It has cut through.
No, I know.
It's so depressing.
Look, I don't fucking care if it has cut through or not, actually. What really bugs me is that these are the same people who martyr Nigel Farage if he gets a milkshake thrown on him.
Totally, I agree with you
and
completely.
say he needs 5 million's worth of security, otherwise he can't do his brave little soldier job. And then there's an actual firebombing attack against the Prime Minister, and they're like, backdoor jokes.
Yeah.
And
it's repulsive. It's repulsive,
drives me
Alex.
insane.
It's repulsive.
There's a very, very important point that sits at the centre of this, and that's that a firebomb attack on the Prime Minister's property itself, carried out by useful idiots at best. This wasn't an Al-Qaeda job flying jets. These were clowns. Nevertheless, after it all plays out and the court case has happened and it's hit the media, there is still the opportunity there to go for lowest common denominator political bullshit. And that's the sort of stuff that Russian operators in particular, the Chinese to a lesser extent, are so very, very good at.
That's true.
The firebombing itself actually ain't the big target here. It's creating an environment, I suspect, in which we're able to throw the mud around, and we all know what the targets are. And I think that's where the real danger lies. And it's very, very depressing, particularly when we've spent the first part of the show discussing how important it is to stop this sort of stuff getting to kids. It's, well, actually, the dangerous people in this country who get fed this nonsense, by and large, are over the age of 16. We see them marching in the streets of London.
So the other story that this week that sort of caught my eye and really upset me was the death of that poor little baby who was killed by his parents. And that straight away on social media and through lots of different channels, all I heard was, and this is why gay men shouldn't be able to adopt children. And it's just ridiculous, because that again is conflating two things, and that worries me a lot about the creeping homophobia. And most of my friends who are LGBT are worried about their safety and security and what's going on in this country. And then you add to that the political side of it. It does feel very toxic, and it feels really quite scary for lots of people.
Yeah, all of it is going backwards.
And it's going backwards deliberately.
Absolutely, deliberately, strategically, and in a coordinated way, because scratch away at the message of all the far-right parties in all of the Western world, and what you find underneath it is that men need to be men, women need to be women, and that entails women being in the kitchen and having babies. And that's the bit that they don't openly articulate for the most part, but that is where every single one of their policies is driving towards.
Yeah. Well, actually, they've got this new policy, haven't they? I've not looked into it, the maternal and women's rights policy.
Suella Braverman coming out for women.
Yeah. So I think you're absolutely spot on, Alex. I think it's all that, but they're going to start saying the quiet bit out loud any second now.
Well, let's hope, because that might actually wake some people up. It's like, what were you thinking?
Hello, I'm Max Rushton. The World Cup is back and Football Weekly is going daily. If you want award-winning soccer coverage from a podcast that's been overanalyzing the game for more than 20 years and still hasn't run out of opinions or just repeats the same ones over and over again, this is where you'll find it. We'll be producing 33 daily episodes across the tournament, breaking down all the action, the results, and of course, the drama. Can the US make it out of the group stage and into the spotlight on the biggest stage? World Cup Daily. Listen wherever you get your podcasts or watch full episodes on YouTube.
Finally, we can't not talk about Makerfield.
Well, we could, I suppose.
What's your feeling?
I still think that Andy Burnham will win, but I think it's going to be very tight. We had activists up at Makerfield this weekend to talk about proportional representation, not surprisingly. And, they've been busloading Restore campaigners in. There were lots of Reform campaigners. So there's a lot of energy being put in there. But I reckon, they'll win by about 5%, 1,000, 1,500 votes.
I think Emma's right. Andy Burnham is almost certainly going to win. However, I don't think he will win by a bigger margin over Reform than the Restore vote share.
Mm-hmm.
So if Restore get 8 points, I think Burnham will be clear of Reform by 7 points, if you know what I mean. Any ratio of that order, I think.
So there will be that story.
There will be that story. And
does anyone think that Reform have a chance? A reasonable...
I don't think so now. I think at the beginning of the campaign, possibly. But I do think the Restore thing has made a difference. But also the candidate has not gone down brilliantly with lots of different communities. And I think that they just had this idea of, we'll get a plumber. We'll do what the Greens did with Hannah. It'll all be fine.
Yeah, that was basically it, wasn't it?
And it hasn't quite landed like that. And it's to this extent now where you don't really hear him speak because he's obviously saying things that aren't very helpful.
No. And within the constituency, even the most optimistic of Greens and Liberal Democrat voters know that they are not going to get a Green or a Liberal Democrat voter. And, plenty of them are going to swing behind Burnham to keep the right out, whatever, version of the right we see. And at the same time, Restore and Reform will do what they continue to do best, which is break things.
Yeah.
But on this occasion, the stuff that they're breaking is actually in their own back garden. Hallelujah.
Yeah. I mean, to a certain extent, this is heaven for the media because they get to paint it as a disaster for Starmer anyway. Do you know what I mean? If Burnham loses, it's a disaster for Starmer. If Burnham wins but narrowly, it's a disaster for Starmer. If Burnham wins but by a lot, it's a disaster for Starmer because it really drives home the point that he's a more popular politician and might make a better leader. So, and I think that will be the focus. It's a disaster for Starmer. That will be the result. But my instinct tells me it will not be as narrow as most people expect. I think that's been slightly management expectation by Burnham's team.
He should be 10 points clear.
Yeah.
He should.
And I think that's kind of where we're looking at because if you look at the poll that media has been bigging up most, it's the very first poll that was done in that constituency. And everything since has been moving in the opposite direction, but it doesn't get much attention. The thing I will be looking for, and I'll stake my claim now, is will the Starmer camp or the Labour side attack the Greens after this? Because it seems quite clear to me that they didn't put a real massive effort in. They kind of recognize the danger here. And if Labour don't recognise that and come out and go, Polanski, he told you that he was going to be the next Prime Minister, but look at them now on 2%. I think it will be a grave strategic error, and I fully expect them to make it. If I'm honest.
Well, so if Andy Burnham does win, of course, there'll be the Greater Manchester Combined Authority election coming up very quickly after that. And the Greens definitely feel that that's something they can win and they're going to push. And I think if Labour is too critical of Greens, that exactly will happen. But
and maybe that splits the vote and we get a Reform mayor for Manchester.
I think Starmer's going to run for it.
Well, I love that prediction. For the day after, the Starmer defence seems to have kicked up a gear. He said it, that he will offer Burnham a big ministerial job. He's brought up the Manchester mayoral election as a more urgent consideration, as if to say, this should be our focus first of all, and then we can see. And there have been quite a few briefings that his leadership campaign is all set up, that a company has been set up, that it's fully funded, it's, and so all this the signals are there. But what I want to know from you, just from your instinct, is, are these signs of strategy or are they signs of desperation? Is it his last chance to avert a leadership challenge because he knows that if one emerges, he will go? Or is it a genuine signal that he will fight it?
I like the idea that it's actually strategy because he's so desperate. We've got a picture of a drowning man sort of splashing towards the coast, which is a pretty good strategy, actually. But it doesn't mean that he's not going to go under in the next few weeks. And he doesn't really have a choice, does he?
I think it's very undignified to have offered Burnham a big ministerial job.
Very much
I mean,
so.
there's no dignity in that move. Burnham rapidly came out and said, no, thank you very much, very publicly, which Starmer would have known he would have done. So I think he has to set out that timetable, and that's the only thing that will buy him any time. If he doesn't set out the timetable, I think you will begin to get the cabinet resignations, and it will be expedited. Now, what we have had this week, and we've not talked about yet, is that finally we have a date for the next summit between the UK and the
That's
EU.
true, actually.
That is now scheduled for the 22nd of July in Brussels, much later than it was originally penciled in to be. It was in May 2025. We were told they would be annual. Pushing it after parliamentary recess is quite something. And that does leave Burnham, if he goes before all of that and before the Manchester mayoral by-election, a bit of a tricky situation. Does he pull the UK out of that? Does he send somebody? Who does he send? Can he get on top of things enough to go in to do that? I think that was another move by the Starmer administration to try and get people to calm down, back down. And to me signals he's much more likely to set out that timetable taking them through to conference, get the Manchester mayoral by-election out of the way, get the EU summit out of the way, and then you can have your hustings and anoint your new guy or woman.
And then
September.
you think he's not going to fight it?
No, I don't think he will.
Yeah. No, I have to say all these signals say to me that he's not actually planning to fight it, because if you are planning to fight it, you keep the fact that you're all funded and ready to go, you keep it under your hat. You don't give out that information. What do you think, Emma?
I think it's all a very tricky situation for Labour right now because they are obviously suffering in the polls still. Their agenda, even though some of the good things, and we talked just earlier about the economy, which is going okay considering, but John Healey's resignation last week really hit hard.
It really stung.
Really stung. Yeah. And Wes Streeting has been, out on the campaign trail quite vocally. So there's definitely going to be this campaign. I hope that
I get a real stalking horse vibe, actually,
me too.
from Streeting. Do you? I don't think he will actually end up running. He will either end up folding as soon as there is a leadership contest and say, I recognize the strength of feeling in the party. Here you go, Andy Burnham, now give me a good job.
Exactly.
But ages ago, people were joking about Al Khan's standing, and that rumour's come back again. And the Blue Labour I think the Blue Labour gang are not going to want to let Andy be anointed. So that's why I think there will be some kind of election process. But I don't know.
But who's going to be their candidate, do you think?
They might think, well, if Josh Simons is the chief of staff, that's our Blue Labour guy right there running it all anyway. A la Morgan McSweeney, a la Dominic Cummings. So look, I don't know.
In which case you would then expect a challenge to come from the soft left of the party to Burnham. If they don't trust that he will be that representative, maybe the challenge will come from the left.
I suspect Carnes is going to feature in this. I mean, he's a cocky bastard, and he'll have looked at what's happened with Burnham. This is Burnham's third go. Running for leadership and losing at this stage in his career isn't a bad thing. No. And setting himself up for 5 years hence, I think he'll find it quite hard to resist. Now, whether others around him, wiser heads, say, whoa, maybe a senior ministerial position, first of all, some experience, I don't know. But if they are, as we think, they might be struggling to get a representative from particular wings, parts of the party. Ambitious people like him have a habit of sticking their heads above the parapet.
It'll be a shit show, let's face it. It will be an interesting one to watch, I guess.
Okay, look, Naomi, with all that's happening, and we've covered a whole bunch of topics there, what on earth is our call to action going to be today then?
The National Rejoin March takes place on Saturday. That's the 20th of June. You can go on the National Rejoin website. We'll leave a link in the show notes. That's marchforrejoin.co.uk. Go and show them some love. They will appreciate it.
Quiet, Riot. Now it's time to loosen the buckles on Uncle Sam's straitjacket as we have a look at the America you may not have seen reported. It's time for God, less America.
Hail to America and liberty. Hail the story and the glory of democracy.
All right, what have you got for us today, Yankee Doodle Alex?
So this week I wanted to bring you news of Donald Trump's big, beautiful pool. If anyone were ever in need of reflecting, it is this president. So a few weeks ago, New York Times journalist David Fahrenthold reported how the cost of the contract to do this work, which President Trump said would cost under $2 million, had basically ballooned, surprise, surprise, to 7 times that at over $13 million. President Trump reacted, obviously, with fury to this, posted a big thing on Truth, which calls the journalist out by name and defends the contract, saying that, I quote, "It is a deeply complicated work of smart and beautiful construction." This then led to him doing a presentation complete with a clipboard on national media that had the reflecting pool standing up next to the Empire State Building and the Statue of Liberty to show that it will cost a lot less than either of those. And everyone knows that digging a ditch is just as hard as building a really tall building. Anyway, so all of this money was spent and all of this was done in order for the thing to become, and I quote, American flag blue. Fast forward 3 weeks, and the thing is Iranian flag green. So there's basically been a massive algae bloom. Massive algae bloom in the thing, and it's gone completely green. I mean, completely green, bright, bright green. All this money that was spent, no expense spared.
Except on anti-algae.
Cutting-edge technology.
Spray. Yeah.
Cutting-edge technology of something called nano bubblers. I'm not making any of this up, I promise.
Believe it.
That would prevent the algae. And we've ended up with quite literally dozens of White House staff in waders skimming the pool and other ones by the side of the pool pouring bleach. Pouring gallons and gallons of bleach into it, household bleach. Like the bottle looks like they just bought it from Walmart.
It'll stop us getting COVID at least, won't it?
Or it's, maybe it's the stuff they put in swimming pools, the slightly less toxic peroxide, whatever it is. But anyway, so this is their solution to this problem. Now, first of all, I should tell you that Fox News has been struggling to cope with this. And here's what the journalist had to say. Let me just play you a clip.
I'm here at the newly renovated reflecting pool. It's painted American flag blue. And the Democrats are going to tell you, oh, there's green algae, it looks so bad. But there's pool guys cleaning it up right now. No other president would do that.
Look how good our president is. The Democrats will tell you it's green, but it's not really, it's blue. Anyway, just when you thought this couldn't get any more ridiculous, step forward Grant Stinchfield, a big MAGA sort of YouTuber, host of the True American Voice Online network, whatever it's called. He goes on location chatting to people, and here's his take.
I mean, we just saw it like a week ago. It was like crystal clear blue,
all that,
yeah.
There's algae in here again. I feel like it's sabotage.
That wouldn't shock me either.
Why is it like this? Because it's gooey at the other end, and we walk this whole thing, we're like, there's
nice
no way that something like this. And the very opposite side is the World War II memorial. Right. The water's fine. Why is this? So something happened here.
I mean, they had just literally fixed this. They're pumping something into this, and what a shame. Because in the end, after all the work that was done, after as proud as I was of President Trump for finally getting this thing fixed, we're back to green. And again, is it nefarious? I tend to think so. You wouldn't have so much algae that you see in here. You would not have that quickly unless somebody did something. I'm telling you, I think they want Trump to fail so badly that they'll come out here and do anything.
I think so. I agree with you. Yeah.
Crazy.
This is the new conspiracy theory sweeping MAGA, that the big, beautiful reflecting pool has been sabotaged with algae, even after the director of the parks, bit that basically looks after this and is a Trump appointee. She came out and said, no, there were remnants of algae in the pipes, basically, and so we got a massive bloom the moment we refilled it with water. He's not having any of it.
I still think it may have been sabotage, even though the National Park Service comes out and says, no, it's not sabotage. It was algae residue left over in the pipes. What if the bureaucrats left it over in the pipes on purpose? We know that those inside government don't like President Trump.
What if the bureaucrats left the algae in the pipes
The
on
algae
purpose?
residue.
Yeah. If only there was a way of knowing that this might happen. If only President Trump had read a paragraph further of the article we know read by David Farenthold, which says, the things that make it beautiful also make it a real nightmare to keep up. The pool is very shallow. That makes it a petri dish for the growth of algae, which make the pool look green. Experts say that if you don't repair the plumbing underneath the pool, then you may end up with another massive bloom of algae, which no matter what color you paint the bottom of the pool, is still going to make the pool look green.
It's just a metaphor for American public life.
But that just proves the conspiracy, I think, because it's obviously he knew this was going to happen.
Alex, thank you. From Trump's big, beautiful pool.
I don't think you should be thanking me for these. You should be commiserating our American listeners.
Oh, they're in a dark cupboard and have been for the last 18 months. Listeners, on both sides of the pond, whatever colour your pond may be, if you spot something that you think belongs in the God-less America padded cell, send your suggestions to quietriotpod@gmail.com.
And that's all we have time for today. Let me thank our guest, the wonderful Emma Harrison, for being fabulous, as always.
Don't forget tomorrow's B-side with, probably our first reactions to the Makerfield result.
And also do head over to ko-fi.com/quietriotpod and bung us some cash so we can keep this thing going. You'll get invites to lots of lovely events and a chance to join in our Discord channel where you can chat with lots and lots of fab quiet rioters.
And we will be back at the weekend with Sunday School, which includes something that so many of you have asked for, a deep dive on the various different options for proportional representation with Emma.
And, as if that wasn't all enough, don't forget we've got sister shows, Podyssey, and Behind the Lines too.
We love you more than nanobubbles.
Bye!
Quiet Riot is an audio production from Cooler Heads, written and produced by Andreou, Naomi Smith, and Kenny Campbell. Music by Mariana Sangeeta, artwork by Simona Canelu, and edited by me, Alex Reese.
Quiet Riot.
Producer Alex here. It is 7:57 on Wednesday night. I don't have any proof of that. It's an audio medium, so you're just going to have to trust me on this. My prediction is that England and Croatia are going to stink up the place, and it will be 0-0 tonight.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.